Yeah.
Nice. I didn't
Hmm.
think I knew that actually. I love Scottsdale.
Yeah. How often are you out here?
I'm like, this might be TMI or whatever, but I used to go every year. My dad's buried out in Scottsdale. So
Okay.
I used to go visit the grave.
How long
I
has he been
haven't gone
gone?
in a while, but I love Sedona, all the things.
Yeah. How long has he been gone?
About 12 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad passed in '07. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, exactly. The Dead
Hmm.
Parent Club. It's more of a
I go visit. I'm sitting next to him at the in the hospital. He's got tubes in his nose, and I get on my high horse about how he needs to quit smoking, and he's eating three McDonald's 3 times a day, etc. And he stops me. I don't have the context, the life experience to really be preaching at him by any means. And he goes on to tell me pretty much the cliff notes of his life's experience. He ran away from home at 13. He enlisted in the Air Force so he wouldn't get drafted into Vietnam. He's retired out of the Air Force, started a private practice in criminal defense, and he's got 6 wonderful, beautiful, healthy kids. And finally found a woman, my mom, who has gone the distance with him. And he's like, son, I've lived a good life. And in the moment, like none of that mattered to me. I just want my dad to get out of the hospital. In what became my life's work, what I realized is that even though he lived a big life, he left a lot of years on the table because of his lifestyle. What he missed, our weddings, his grandchildren, really big milestone moments for his kids and grandchildren. And so why we do what we do now in that vein is helping our clients who have achieved a lot of success at the expense of their health and wellness, and creating this reality by virtue of curating their environments and circles of influence so they're able to show up in their highest expression and create not so much more years at the end of the day, but improve the quality of the years that they're living.
That is such important message, inspiring in a lot of ways. I think so many times we can look at the circumstance we're given
Mhm.
or something that's happened to us and, we can take it in, we can process it, we
Mhm.
can grieve it, and that's it. But you've
Yeah.
chosen instead to actually do something with it at next level. Tell me a little bit more about it and what you guys do.
Yeah. So we build the fittest leaders, alignment first and progress always. And what you had asked me before we got started, like, what are the trends that I see? One of the downfalls of coaching, personal training, that client coach relationship is, as it's traditionally done, ownership of the process belongs to the coach. It doesn't ever get transferred to the client. And why that's an issue is when I become as coach the crutch, not a resource. So when life gets hard or you meet challenges or there's a limiting belief at play that's inhibiting your progress, you have to come back, right? And there's no, the big word is ownership. So we front load that transfer of ownership via our alignment assessment, and we help the client identify what alignment really looks like for the life that they want to lead. And why this is critical is because there's a narrative when you come to us, because we leverage fitness as the gateway for the real work that we do in leadership and character development. And when you come through the door of fitness, health, and wellness, and you want 6 pack abs, you want to drop 40 pounds, you want to get off your blood pressure medication, ultimately, your fitness or lack thereof is really indicative of what you're not dealing with in the other 23 hours of your day. So the common narrative is I've tried everything and I'm not consistent with my training. I eat like trash. I sleep like shit. My relationships suffer as a result. I have like god awful self-talk. And it really and truly is because that goal, whatever it is, more than likely isn't yours. You don't own it.
Right.
right? It is something that social media told you that you wanted, or keeping up with the Joneses has suggested that you should be at a certain level on the socioeconomic ladder by now, or in your own personal narrative, you're shooting yourself to death with like commentary such as, I should have had this figured out by now. I should have made my million by now. I should have been married by now. I should have had kids by now. Should. When in actuality, you've failed to take life for a test drive and really get a glimpse of what life could be like should you accomplish said goals and own them. So once we paint that picture, transfer that ownership, now we get to be a guide for that experience and move you along, light the path. But at no point ever in the history of this dynamic have I ever done the reps for a client, eaten the food for a client, gone to bed for a client. None of that. It's impossible. So to create this narrative that in any way, shape, or form that is going to be done, quote unquote, for you is impossible. However, by where we've cracked the code is it via this transfer of ownership, the likelihood of success and sustainability over the long term, lifestyle integration is exponentially more likely.
Absolutely. And so what I'm hearing you say is that there's this sense of, flipping the
Hmm.
script from what social media is telling you to do
Hmm.
and like trying to compare yourself to every single person and instead actually finding out the root cause of, okay, well, why do you want this for
Right.
yourself? Why do you want that help?
Hmm.
Um, finding that, I guess you could say North Star, right?
Yeah, we have this natural aversion to connecting to what's true.
Hmm.
Right. So we'll just use the six pack ab example because it's so superficial.
Sure.
I want a six pack. Well,
Mm,
why? Because like that signifies that I'm healthy. Well, why do you want to become healthy? And we play the game, we go 7 layers deep, only to find out that you're appalled at your stage presence and you're terrified that because of your physical appearance, you will not come off as confident, competent, or capable in whatever role you occupy in your lived experience. Well, now that you own that, that is the ultimate goal. And that makes everything that we're about to do in fitness worth your while
yeah,
because you don't want the six pack ab component is a bonus to creating that confidence, competence, and capability, or the appearance of it at the root of your intrinsic motivation, which trumps anything external by a mile.
absolutely. Because those are just little superficial things, like you
Hmm.
said. Those are not things that will actually motivate you to get out of bed in the morning. You got to go the 7 layers deeper, like you said.
Hmm.
What do you feel like has been, working well for you? What's more frustrating? What do you hope to be improved?
What's more frustrating? Well, I can't say I experience too much frustration these days with regards to how we implement and integrate this process with our clients. Where I'm really hopeful is we've now created a digital container where, at one point when I had a brick and mortar training facility here in Scottsdale, we had, that fitness conversation taking place and we had this leadership and character development dynamic that were running in parallel to each other, but it's really tough to get them to intersect.
Mm,
And by virtue of the creation of our alignment village, it is now a container that allows that intersection is the only conversation that we're having, right? We used to say in the Marine Corps, as a leader, fitness is in your job description. It is a non-negotiable. It's part of the equation. It's baked in. And we've created a space where baking it in becomes not only possible, but it becomes normal, right? Because By virtue of that ownership, you're also eliminating all the friction that comes along with behavior change, pattern disruption, shifting of limiting beliefs that so many people experience at the onset of lifestyle change. Because once you identify who it is that you desire to become, that's a lot of introspective work on its own, and then it manifests physically in the curation of your environment and your circles of influence. Who do I need to put myself, who do I need to surround myself with? What situations or environments do I need to stay away from? Right. And we create this scaffolding by virtue of this process to support our client's greatness.
Absolutely. And you even touched on something. We have so many different belief systems, what we can and cannot
Yeah.
achieve, right? We have these
Hmm.
limiting beliefs. I can do this, I can't do that. We like, and we even said the negative self-talk. So, and yeah, you can like there's a plethora of ways to create a fitness routine,
Yep.
but there it goes a layer deeper when it's about breaking through some of those limiting beliefs, those barriers, those the things that we tell ourselves. I mean, everything that happens in here can
Yeah.
like we are our own worst enemy a lot of the times. Like you have to ask this question to yourself, like, would you be friends with you?
Right.
Right. And when it comes, it sounds to me like the system that you've created, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it both you said you had a brick and mortar, but
Hmm.
the digital platform, right? Now so
Hmm.
there's this like all-encompassing coaching that you're providing
Hmm.
people, right?
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. Top to bottom, holistic. We're talking about your physical well-being, which regulates your emotional state, which creates mental clarity and allows you to show up as the highest and best version of yourself.
That's amazing. That's
Hmm.
great. So what are your future goals? Where do you hope to be in the next 6, 12 months, a couple years from now?
Oh, such a good question. What took us the better part of 20 years to serve a couple of thousand people in the brick and mortar, we now have the opportunity, the infrastructure to support that many people and beyond on a monthly basis. And that's what I'm super excited to finally be in a position where we're able to scale our impact in a very cost effective manner. To do what we're doing one on one with our clients is like, upwards of 18 grand a year. And
Man,
now we've created an opportunity for our clients to come into that conversation, capitalize on community, and take advantage of strategic coaching for $1,000 a year.
that's amazing. That's,
Hmm.
almost feels and sounds like a no-brainer, right? At
Yeah,
least in my eyes.
100%. Yeah.
And to be able to create the lifestyle, create the life
Hmm.
that you really saw for yourself, right? Can you expand or tell me about when there was a turning point for you, maybe whether it was personally or
Yeah. Oh yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
If you had asked me when I was leaving the uniform, getting out of leaving active duty, if
Mhm.
this is the work that I'd be doing 15 years later, I couldn't have seen it.
Mhm.
I left the Marines with the intent of just helping people sweat and smile, you know.
Mhm.
And I started to realize in my clients, the longer they were with me, the less the conversation was about all those superficial things that we've been addressing and more about what was going on between the ears.
Mhm.
And when I started to really explore that with them and figure out alongside them what alignment really looked like by their definition, and I watched that transfer of ownership start to take place, all of a sudden, like we were making incremental progress over time, and all of a sudden they started making a lot of progress really fast. And of course, and I have a tattoo on my arm that says I only got this far because of what I did not know. And I got really curious as to what this thing that I was doing intuitively. It's like when you realize that there's a when you see the pattern, then you start to get really curious about, well, how do I do it on purpose? How do I do it consciously? This thing that I'm feeling, how do I do it with logic? How do I how do I systemize it? You know,
Mm.
and that became a very high value one-on-one practice. And eventually, me and my wife, we've been married for 10 years. My daughter's 7, my son is 9. And it's like, there's a lot of value here, but Mycal doesn't scale. And if the mission is to help our clients lead through peace and love, when it's all said and done, I want to create that impact for as many people as possible. And as impactful as it was one to one, it I'm now the limiting factor,
Hmm.
right? And the more I serve that mission, the less I serve my family, if that makes any sense.
No,
The
absolutely.
way I was doing it. So then the question becomes, okay, how do we do this so that I'm taking my own medicine? How do I continue to do this thing that fills me up, that grants me so much fulfillment and abundance at a level that keeps me in alignment? Because we're always answering this question because it's a moving target from the standpoint of the seasons of your life that you're in,
Mm.
right? The way I was doing it served 28-year-old Mycal on a massive level, right? I could do that forever. I still could. But what's the trade-off,
Mm.
right? I want to be there for my kids. I want to support my wife. I want to I desire and require to pour into those relationships that when at the end of the day, when I die, they're the only ones who matter,
Right.
right? So when I got hip to that in my conscious mind, then I had to start making some really strategic shifts that as a result of staying in alignment, I've also this is the very critical thing that I don't this is a dot that most people in my experience don't connect. By staying in alignment with what really matters to Mycal, as a result, I've also increased the impact that we have with what we do. Does
Absolutely.
that make sense?
100%. You like nailed it
Hmm.
as far as just so many times as entrepreneurs or, people who have started their own businesses, we get lost in it, right?
Hmm.
And that might have been fine in our 20s, when you can grind, you can hustle, the energy's flowing. But when you have a family and you have kids, your priorities change and you want to be able to dedicate that time to them, but you also want to help people. So many of us in our like the health and wellness field, we want to help. We want to support people. And so many times it's just about how can we show up both in our personal lives and how can we still continue to serve in our professional lives? It's that balancing act, and it's really like taking our own medicine. So I love
Yeah.
that you even addressed that piece. So we're going to be kind of wrapping up here.
Yeah.
I want to also know, what is that driving force for you, that North Star?
Oh, my big I, impact, inclusion, income, all day, every day. It's impact.
Yeah.
And just having created this opportunity to take and collapse time in terms of the scale of impact is really, really exciting. So in on the professional side of the house, building this alignment village and seeing where that capacity really is super exciting for me.
Mhm.
And at the same time, I've positioned myself so that I'm in the best place I've ever been as a husband and a father, and
Mm.
I'm hanging on to that with
Mm.
everything I got.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing your insights today. I'm really excited to hear about what our audience has to say about it, and also where can people find you. I'll include it in the show notes, but
Yeah, for sure. Head over to nextlevelvillage.com mycalders.com. We got a couple of freebies, some training protocols, some nutrition plans, all that kind of good stuff. And you can use that as the gateway into our alignment village. And then I've also got a podcast on Spotify called Progress Always. Super easy to find me. I'm at Coach Ders on all channels, DERZ. And you can follow Next Level at next level underscore PHX.
Amazing. Thank you again, Michael. It's such a pleasure to have you on.
Ray, you're the best. I'm grateful.